Restart.
All right.
We got to get the.
Why is it all weird? Hold on.
Sorry. It's like we've never done this before. You know, it's different. No, it's different. We're going through different motions since we're both here in the same room today.
I just like that beach royalty-free music.
The beach music.
Oh, this is.
We're still using that? I guess it's like we've been doing a lot of beach-themed games lately, so.
All right. Can you guys hear us better? I'll come over here.
Yeah, confirm you can hear Emoto.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 104 of PinTech Live. My lava's broken, so I'm using the handy-dandy.
Much better. Okay, cool.
Much better. Sorry about the music. I love that music. Anyways, good to see y'all in person. Kyle.
What's up?
I'm going behind the camera.
Emoto is more comfortable behind the camera most of the time. Hey, everybody. we're actually using Emoto's like really awesome like professional camera, so you're gonna get like really cool depth of field. PinDaddy41 subscribed for 21 months.
Yay,
wow.
thank you,
Thank you.
Hey
That's-
Drager, hey Hado J, and Colin Bax. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for being here. We're a little late because things, and also we've got a little bit of work to do on the Baywatch today. I think we're gonna kind of
Hi, Spunky.
work on. Oh, look at that.
I know, I'm trying to fix
Where am I? Oh, I think I need to be more. Oh
no,
God.
you're good. It's the
Hello everyone.
so crisp.
We have drop targets and we have decals. So we will install some drop targets today. That might be quite a good learning experience. I don't think we've done Data East drop targets before. When I was here just kind of waiting for Emoto to work on putting some cameras together, I was going to start reinstalling the lane dividers at the top of the game, these dudes. And the 5/16 sized rubbers, which would normally go on these, will not fit with, well, they might fit with the super bands if you really force them, but this is one of those instances where it's a good idea to upsize. So a lot of the times, like our super band kits that we sell, when they're wrong, people will tell us and then we'll change them. But if you're going to make your own kit or you're ordering your own stuff, this is the sort of things you'll start to remember where it's like, yeah, you got to upsize for certain things. So what else can we do? I've got all the decals. All the decals were yanked off of the apron, so we could probably wipe those down and maybe start applying some of them. I also brought the foam this time. I don't know if we memed on this. This has been 3 weeks in the making, so now we have the foam, so we can also install the targets into the game. This will be great. Pretty simple process.
Oh, I put only drop targets. I should have just put targets.
Oh, well, we can get to a couple of these too. A lot of times with targets, you'll get like a whole assembly. Williams, their target assemblies would be, oh, nice. We've got a great camera operation thing. Ooh, look at that. Dang.
This is the prettiest. Oh my gosh.
This is really rad.
Let's make a movie. That is the most beautiful target I've ever seen on camera.
I know. The Williams would like put their target assemblies together with the brackets and then rivet them together. And Data East actually like screwed them together using like different screws and bolts and plates and stuff like that. So I have some new just targets themselves, which we'll be installing. Instead of replacing an entire assembly, it's not necessary. We can just install these guys. But the reason the foam is important is just on a bazillion-year-old game like this, the foam starts to degrade. So having some nice tight rebound foam is going to make a big difference when it comes to the way the game feels. Hey, Pin Guy, welcome to the stream.
Your hands are so beautiful, Kyle.
Thank you. They're not all torn up today. The what I mean by playability is the this. Well, I'll show you, but real quick explanation. The backing plate for the Switch has this piece of foam, and that kind of butts up against the back of the Switch here. So when the Switch is hit, it compresses into the foam. It doesn't ground out all the way back onto the backing plate, and it gives you a nice bit of rebound. So it's good to have nice foam. Long way to say replace your foam. Anywho, yeah, what's up with all you guys? Emoto, what's up with you? Why are you here?
I am here for our Q4 planning and excited to go to Expo next week.
Yeah, we're going to Expo.
See everyone at Expo. Hello, Daniel. Welcome.
Hi, Daniel. Kyle cleaned his nails. They're pretty clean.
No, his nails are so clean. You want to see his nails compared to my nails? This is what a real worker's nails look like.
That's right. I'm just some lazy office drone now. I don't
Kyle
actually
has,
work.
Like the cleanest nails. Look at all those chips.
My hands used to be really gnarly. Between like motorcycle fixing and like pinball fixing all the time, there's always like tons of grease and like a bunch of cuts all over your knuckles. It feels great.
Oh, Draggers not going to Expo.
Aw, bummer. Yeah, I guess this is our last stream before going to Expo. We'll mention it a few times, but if any of y'all are coming to Expo, it would be great to meet you. Please come up to us and say hello. I'll probably be really awkward, and so will Emoto.
We're socially awkward, so we don't know how to come up to you. So come up to us instead.
And I don't know what you guys look like. Very few of you do I know what you look like. But you know what we look like.
Yay, Rilla Pinball. We've met you before, but still come up and be like, hey, Rilla Pinball here.
Yes, Twitch names are also good. It helps me remember faces to names. Anyways, yeah, maybe we'll get to work doing some drop targets. I don't know. What else is going on? Any other pinball news that's happened recently? We've seen a lot of great excerpts from the James Bond game. Those have been pretty cool. George Gomez has been posting some videos on his social media, and I think
Jack Danger's stream on it's coming up soon.
Yeah, the 18th, I think.
18th?
Right?
Yep.
I have to watch the video Jack did yesterday. I think him and Wason streamed for their We released Jurassic Park a year ago or something like that, so I'd like to check that out.
They did an anniversary one?
I think they did a stream, because I know yesterday Stern put out a video of like the making of Jurassic Park. I bet Jack loved sitting for that. But look at us, we're here.
It's like the Hobbits and Gandalf.
Why am I Gandalf? I figured I'd be like an Ent. I'm just a big lazy tree. I don't know, there's not much else pinball news. We're gonna get to play Queen.
Yeah.
That's gonna be pretty cool.
My brothers are bringing Queen.
What else is happening?
Jake Danzig's bringing Dukes of Hazzard pinball.
Okay, Dukes of Hazzard is a rethemed what again?
I think it's a rethemed Mustang.
Mustang? I thought it was an old game.
Does anyone in the chat know?
Can anyone remind us what Jake Danzig's Dukes of Hazzard retheme was made on?
Pinmaster. Hey everyone from Bang Back.
Hey,
Yay.
What's up?
Oh wait.
We were just at Bang Back last night, enjoying the drinks and playing some games. Oh, there you go.
Fred's like, Emoto didn't change her shirt from last night.
Yeah, it was an old game. Rampomatic says old game.
Old game.
Okay, so it wasn't Mustang, unless it was a Gottlieb Mustang. I think it was a Bally game. We'll see. It'll be fun. We'll get to play it.
You should know it. I'm gonna take this camera and shoot lots of cool footage of it. So.
Sweet.
Get ready.
We're also excited, hopefully, to get our brand new Rampomatic Baywatch ramps into this game eventually. We're waiting on the decals, but I think
Jody's like, hurry.
Yeah, Jody's like, I need that. I need you to show them off. We've got. There's some work I need to do off camera. I'll get like the last couple little things done, and maybe 2 episodes. The second episode of Baywatch we do chronologically from now, maybe will be ramps, and then we're almost done, which is pretty cool. Lots of bit more cosmetic stuff, cleaning, vacuuming, making sure things look nice, but that's kind of exciting. And we'll definitely be doing an after-hours stream of this game. I think Steve and I will drink and play this game.
You guys have to come in your bathing suits.
Oh God, no one wants to see that.
You could do your bathing suits, and then you can get fake hair and like glue it to you, so you guys both have like half.
Super
chest.
sweet Baywatch chest hair. Check these out too. Here, you can focus on these. I also got some new. Maybe it needs to come closer. Nope, I can see that from here. We've got some brand new Sonic the Hedgehog flippers. The brand new correct flippers for Baywatch. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Banana hammock. Yeah, I have another website where people pay me to see that. I'm not doing that for free here, sorry.
Hi, Jim. Pinball Gramps.
What's
in the
up?
house. And hello, Eternal Grammy wants you in red Speedos.
I used to have a Speedo. Well, because I used to swim, but I don't do that so much anymore. Just like, can we show something funny on this game? It's not super funny per se, but it's unique. Baywatch uses 3 different flippers. You've got everyone's favorite.
Sorry, this tripod is not the best.
No, it's a little
Shark
goofy.
flipper?
This one here. You've got a shark flipper. which is super rad. On the upper right, you have a super unobtainium, like neon pink Sonic flipper. This is correct. It is not a mistake. I think it might maybe try to match up with like the rescue gear. I don't know. And then you've got the standard white ones down here. Baywatch, I know Sega did use this weird flipper color for a few games. I think like Starship Troopers, I think, used this color. I don't know. But I also know there's another fun fact. You don't see many of these games because they were really low production. But like the last couple Sega games, like, what are they? Godzilla, Lost in Space, some of those like much later games, they used a Sega Saturn logo flipper, which is kind of cool too. They went away from the Sonic the Hedgehog and used the stylized like planet with the ring, Saturn with the S in the middle. Pretty cool. Expo excitement mode. Aren't we all? I'm really excited to go as well. Even though I don't particularly feel like flying.
Really?
Nah. I don't like flying out of here. We live in like Podunk City.
It's the easiest airport to fly out of.
It's really easy, but it's annoying because you get on a plane and then like as soon as you're like
getting comfy, you get off to make a transfer.
Yeah, you get off and go sit in Atlanta for 2 hours and then get on a plane somewhere else. But it's better than driving 3 hours to Atlanta because who wants to do that? Ain't no one got time for that. Yeah, so I think we'll start with some drop target action. Starship uses the Sega Saturn logo and the strange pinkish orange mini flipper. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, it's got the extra pink flipper that's pink, and then the other ones are white, I think. Okay. It's been a while since I've played a Starship Troopers. I got to play a really awesome one at the Galloping Ghost Pinball arcade in the wonderful suburbs of Chicago. It's a really neat game. It's kind of like Medieval Madness, but not. Anywho, yeah, let's get to work. Let's do some drop target stuff.
I guess you're gonna have to go under, huh?
Yeah, I'll lift up the playfield. There's one thing that we want to check. Yeah, I don't want to bump that camera. Actually, wait. Hey, okay, here's the question, actually, for some naval-oriented people, maybe some marine sorts of people. I forget what they're called. I think on like military ships, they're called signals, but maybe that's what they are here too. Like, are those little flags? Are these like signal flags? Is that what they are?
Yeah, they are like some sort of warning flags, right? Come closer.
These are the drop target decals. And I was just like thinking, it's like, oh man.
Driver said yes.
They are? Okay.
Which one does each mean?
Yeah.
He's like, Google it.
Google it. It's not my job. I need to figure out what order they go in because I want to make sure I put them in. They have like a graphic on the playfield that shows like, that kind of match up with the decals. But anyways, it's been a while since I've done a Data East drop target. I mean, it's been a while since I've done any of this stuff, but we are going to disassemble this. I think if I remember right, with these drop targets, I don't remember if we need to take the whole bank off, but it's only like 3 bolts. It's literally only 3 bolts, so we probably will. It does make it easier to kind of finagle the drop targets, but we call that orange thing the lifeguard is carrying a can. They used to be metal and painted yellow. Oh, huh. Now they're just like lighter than water, foamy things, I guess. Let's see. Let me remember. Oh, hey, this doesn't have any decals on it. Okay, I'm going to probably have Emoto go and Google the order they go in, even though or at least, no, they only go in one direction. They're not square. So let's just take them apart. We'll figure it out later. I think for giggles, let's take the whole bank out. Even if maybe taking the whole bank out is not the fastest or easiest way to do it, it will make for much better camera angles, etc.
Whoa.
Semaphore flags? Huh. I'm not familiar with that term. Maybe that's what it is, though. Let's see what we can get. Generally, I think if I remember right, these are kind of like some of the easiest drop targets to actually take apart, disassemble, and do. It's really nice to be able to do all of this on the bench if you can. And in reality, this would also be extremely easy to. Actually, do you want to do it on the bench?
Yeah.
Let's just do it on the bench. We'll get some good, even though Moto's setting up all the cameras, we'll get better camera angles here. Let me put these decals away. Like thinking about it here, right?
Whoops.
It's kind of nice to be able to clean things and look at things. There's nothing to adjust or that's going to be broken on this mechanism, but you know, looking at it, I think I can unscrew the, oh wait. Hold on. No, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
I thought that the switch plate came off easy. I thought that there was one bracket that held the switches, and then that will come off, and all I had to do was unsolder the coil. But to get this off basically exposes what we need to work on. So I think it'll be easier just to kind of hold it in our hands and let it rock around. What I might do, though, is remove the coil from the assembly so it doesn't put a bunch of strain on the wires for the coil. So 3 bolts, drop target bank comes out. Pretty cool. So the drop target bank is like, this is like hella simple. They used to be so confusing and complicated back in the day. Not confusing, but just kind of overly complicated, but it's a basic frame. You've got a solenoid, a plunger. This link pulls on this metal bar, which is pinned with some E-clips. This is what you call the reset bar. It pivots. The entire reset bar pivots on this thinner bar, which is E-clipped to the main frame. So when the coil energizes, it yanks on this link, pulls this up, resets the targets. There's a bar up here that houses the springs that retract the drop targets. So when the target falls, or when it's hit, it loses its space here on the shelf, and the spring pulls it down. There are switches on the back. When the drop targets fall, there's a long blade on the back of this switch. When it falls, it will then push the long blade up into the short blade. Switch closure, the game knows that the target is down. So real simple. In my recollection, I think what we have to do actually is just remove this entire plate, which will allow us to access the targets. So I'm going to remove the screws here. Sometimes on these drop target banks, there are plates that kind of overlap each other. Real common on Bally games.
Thank you, Grammy.
Oh, nice. Oh, interesting. Zulu.
Why do they look like it?
Yeah, they're right there next to the soldering iron. This is one thing too, like I like this bank a lot. This is one thing I think I've explained before, like Data East's like angle on why you should buy a Data East game over like the traditional Williams game was, you know, just ease of maintenance. They're relatively easy to do mechanical maintenance work on, and that's nice, to put it lightly. I think I was saying something about plates overlapping each other. So we have this plate here, but one thing you can always use if you took it apart and you did it real fast and you didn't remember, I used to always talk about looking for witness marks. We've got a very clean section here where that plate overlapped.
Nice.
Oh, I'm getting a call from Mr. Comet Pinball himself.
Oh, yeah. Tell him that we got some beautiful footage the other day.
I will have to call him back. I don't want to do that on stream.
Oh.
Sorry, Ryan.
Oh, wait. The playfield shows the order. Maybe.
Yeah, it does. It's got like, yeah, it's got renditions of them. So.
But yeah, these ones weren't on that Wikipedia site.
They're fake. Oh no.
Mhm.
They were inventing
They're
their
Baywatched.
their Baywatch. Find a place for it to live.
Get this out of here.
I just unhooked the springs. The most annoying part of doing any sort of drop target work is generally applying the springs again, but now we have some free targets. Let's go decal up our new targets before we rip everything apart. I kind of forgot to do that. So now we also have to figure out what is the correct orientation of all of these.
Oh, I just pulled it up on.
Oh, you did?
PinTech.
Okay. We can tell the order, but I want to make sure I don't put one on upside down because that will annoy me to no end.
Oh.
You know what I mean? There's like
Oh
two
yeah, it shows.
of them are directional.
Look.
Yeah. Can you see one with the drop targets up though?
No,
Well, then shucks, we're not going to do that.
I haven't looked. I don't think so.
It's okay. If you pull that picture up again.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm going to
Triangles
assume that
facing
this one, the white bit faces up because
Yes.
the red is at the bottom or the left of that flag in the center and the white is at the top. It kind of looks like the flag of Poland here. We're going to make our Poland drop target. I hate applying decals to things because when they're like just the most minute, teeny bit off, it drives me insane. And all of you guys probably are like, that is not surprising, Mr. Weird.
Mr. Weird.
Mr. Weird, neurotic guy. Like that, it's way closer to the left, but you know what? Who cares?
Oh, that's terrible.
It's terrible. Value of the game just absolutely plummeted. Okay, which way should the,
Triangle point is up.
towards the top of the drop target?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Da, 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 da. Yeah, look at that one's even crooked too. Okay, now I have 0 cares, so I'm just going to throw this one on. It's not worth splitting hairs most of the time. Now, putting the decals on the apron, I am absolutely going to split hairs, but all right, look at that. We have usable drop targets.
Here, put them to this camera.
Da, da, da.
This is smaller now.
They're decaled up. How happy. Okay, we're probably going to need one tool. I might need to get something to poke a spring with, so I am going to grab, where the heck are my, hey now. Oh, there's one. That's not the one I wanted. I have some like dental picks that I use to poke and mess with springs, and I can only find one. They both fall out of the back of the toolbox all the time. So it might be like at the bottom of the toolbox. So for now, we'll see what we can make do with this one. Okay, we'll bring our new targets over. We like, this is something I do. It's like I would also consider, like this is clean work, right? You don't want to do new drop targets and stuff like, nope. You don't want to do new drop targets and such when you're still have like the whole game to clean. So the drop targets come out the top. Just make sure you don't bend the switch up. Someone heavily greased the back of this target, kind of grody. So we're going to want to get in there and clean the switch a little bit also. Get some of
Happy Thursday, JG. Is JG Jody gone?
No,
But
he
was
comes
already
on.
here.
He's on here as Rampomatic all the time. I think I have a paper towel in my pocket, actually. Yep, I do. I want to wipe away a little bit of this old grease. Old grease does the opposite of new grease. Old grease is sticky and not, that's not coming off. We're going to need to get some heavy-duty chemical assistance here. Naphtha will probably do just fine. This might also be a teeny bit neurotic, but this is the kinds of stuff it's like that can really make a difference. If you throw the whole thing back together and suddenly the drop targets aren't sliding too well, you know, you have to take it back apart. This might not make any difference in reality, but since we're here, you know, due diligence. Wipe off that old grease. Naphtha does an incredible job of breaking that grease down and making it disappear. Clean. Ooh, ah.
So clean. Come on, closer.
Except for now, this is all saturated with grease and it's not cleaning so well.
Oh, there's the thing I need.
What's wrong? Oh, the weird tripod is giving you trouble.
No, it's good now.
Cleaner switches. Yay.
Just needed some love. Nice. That looks super clean.
Yeah.
So just a little bit of naphtha.
Little bit of naphtha or rubbing alcohol or lacquer thinner. I guess that's kind of extreme, but anything just to kind of start to break down the petroleum. Okay, so we've got it all apart. We need to put new drop targets in. So let's see. Starting from the top, we need this guy who's crooked and it's making me mad, but it's of my own doing. It's okay. It'll make it a better target to hit because it makes you so angry. And we've got the Poland flag. We're going to put the Poland flag in here. And then we're going to put the triangle guy in here. All right, drop targets. Yay. We'll take this. Make sure we're not creating a wire spaghetti. This is delicious as spaghetti is. We don't want wire spaghetti. Get these plates to mount up nicely. Okay, it's a little tight. There we go. And now we'll just screw this back together real quick, and then we get to do the fun part. The springs, please attach to the drop target. It's my favorite dance. Do you have any annoying spring pinball repairs you've ever had to do, Emoto?
No, I've just watched you
Oh,
do tons of them.
great.
But you have that tool, right?
I couldn't find the one that I wanted in my box, so.
A double-sided spring puller tool.
Oh, I don't have that really awesome one that we sell either. Marco found that, and it's really awesome. Oops. Yeah. So I know we found a neat tool that's like a little spring puller. It's pretty situational. In some places like this, sometimes tools are difficult because you can't arrange the tool in the way you need to pull up and get the right angle on it. But when you can use a spring tool, it'll save you many swears. What I mean, the best advice I could give to you folks, if you do struggle with springs or you wanted a little tip, is obviously, you know, we're going to want to try to install the spring when it's in its least compressed state, right? Clean the metal frame slots. Yeah, I cleaned out the top bit here. They slide quite nicely. We want to have it try to stretch the spring in its least compressed state. That generally allows you to not have to stretch further or be more mean to your springs. But look at the way like the loop is and bend the spring down. I mean, these are pretty easy. I'll hold the spring here so I don't move it, but I'm going to try to fish it up and in, try to get like a corner around one of these hooks, and I'll show you the hooks once I try to get it on. But
Can your hands be see-through?
I wish my hands could be see-through. Now I'm like, yeah, springs are generally pretty easy, and now this is a pain in the butt. This is why doing this on the bench is a lot easier.
I have small fingers.
You can totally try. One other tip I'll give also is like you really need to be careful not to mangle your springs either. Sometimes, in some cases, it's actually, I found it easier on certain drop target banks, especially when there are a lot of them, is to hook the target spring to the target first and then come down here and hook it to this. This is a little more difficult because you need to split the ring and then wrap it into the around the hole that they attach to, where these the springs just go over the open end of the hook here. So that little tooth there is the hook. If we look at the back side, it's open. I think that this instance would be actually be really great for that double-sided spring tool. But let's see if we can get it with some good old grit and determination. What I would recommend also is like pulling the spring from like the spring's body itself, and not like, yeah, not trying to like just mangle the end. When you get in there and you like mangle the ends, they'll start to unwrap, or you might be putting too much stress on the last couple coils of the spring, and that will stretch them, and then suddenly your springs don't fit, and that's frustrating. I'm going to look for my little dental pick really quick, because that will make quick work of this. I also think if I stop talking, I might be able to get it.
How do you even get it up in there? Now I see what you mean.
You need something.
It's like curved, and
yeah.
the hook doesn't really go here.
You kind of just need something to push it in place, you know, like you get it in there and then you use your other hand to push the spring up and over, and then that will,
It's almost like the holes need to be.
But then it would not be nearly as precise. It's a double-edged sword. Is this a awl? Why do I have an awl in here? I guess that's handy sometimes. That's my door pin removal tool.
Yeah,
A little pain in the butt, huh?
it's fun. You do need a third hand, right?
Oh yeah.
You could push with the tool while you hold it.
So we'll get up in here.
Pinball repair with partners.
It makes
you
it a
got
lot
it.
easier. Yeah, I like using my straight one. This is the one that has the little hook, and sometimes a hook is not the tool you want to assist in spring installation. It depends on like where the drop targets, like the mold that the targets are made on too. Sometimes like this bit will be more pronounced or more of a pain in the butt. Yeah, this is not going to work. I need a straight tool. Nice, look at this. We found ourselves into a little bit of an annoyance, but it's okay. Well, something I'll try to do sometimes is if you bring it in from like the side and try to latch it around the top instead of going over the top and trying to force it over the hook.
Yeah.
That works. I might need to bring this up to my eye level a little bit more. You know, I'll get a screwdriver because the screwdriver will help me push it up and over. Yeah, I don't know why those ended up in there. All right, sorry, I'm going to bring this up to my level.
Oh, that's a better shot anyway. Minus your hands.
It's one of those things, though, where I need it higher, but I also need my hand. I'm using it to get higher, to also work the tool. Almost. Isn't this fun?
Yeah. It's not difficult, it's just a little tedious.
I mean, the other thing you could do is, like,
You get it?
no, you can unbolt this front bit, bolt them all in, and then stretch them down into place. But yeah, sometimes springs can be tedious. I was hoping I'd make like super easy work of this. Damn these targets.
You can't like make the hole at the end of the spring bigger and then smash it down over the targets later.
You can, but that's just mangling the spring. You know, when you do something like that, you risk the chance of like the spring, that being like the failure point of the spring, you know, where it might jump over the tooth, even though these are like engineered in a way where they would like never do that. Let's rethink this, because I don't want to sit here and bang on screws or springs the whole time in a silly way. What I'll probably do actually is I'll do them one at a time. Well, let's try it this way. Since I don't have the wonder tool that I need. Actually,
I can do it with this.
I'm going to take it apart. Let's see if we can do it. I like my straight dental pick because I can grab the opening of the spring and then push it over the top.
Right.
And since it doesn't have a hook or anything like that, it just slides away and the spring falls down and then everyone's happy. Everyone on the chat's like LOLing, I'm sure. They're like, what a big dummy. Springs are so easy, noob.
Ow. Jim stuck this spring wire into his fingertip trying to get in the target. That's like
Yeah.
Saw movies.
Ow.
Oh gosh, my fingertips hurt for you, Jim.
There's nothing worse than
That's like that's seriously like the worst.
yeah, getting wire, like when you're like stripping wires and they end up in your finger and you're just like.
Okay, so you just disconnected.
You know.
Took apart the back and then that way you have the.
I think, look, and here's something with replacement parts too. Let's look at this. I wonder if these are the same size. They're very likely to have come from the same mold because I don't know how many molds of Data East drop targets there are, but maybe not. They look like they're about the same size tooth. I don't want to like widen the, uh-oh. But what I think we're going to do is we'll do exactly what I was saying before. We're going to do it backwards. We're going to remove the spring from the bank. This is one of those things too where you can ask someone how to do it and get like 50 different answers, but hey, whatever works for you is the right way to do it, right? I'm going to try removing the spring from the bank so I don't have to wrestle it under tension. These are evil. Even having it off, I'm still struggling with it, so now I don't feel so bad. And it's not the camera or me talking that is making me fail. I'm sure everyone's getting a good chuckle, though.
No, they're probably all like, yup, been there.
Yeah, big dummy.
Or, ooh, do I want to change my drop target?
Yeah, never. And when they break, you just leave them there. I'm just kidding.
We believe in Kyle.
It's amazing how much easier like Williams drop targets of this era were. Come on, dude. There's like no shot to make this nice now. I'm not even trying to get out of the way.
I'm working around you.
Around my opacity. Just the one thing to always remember is just do not mangle the spring. Just do not screw the spring up. You need to remember that these are gonna, there's a small, this is a, they're the same on both sides.
Go back a little bit. A little bit more. Okay.
Sometimes some springs will have a closed loop and some will have like a hook. These are like a semi-closed loop. It's not like, they don't bring the wire up and around a few times. It ends there, it ends there. So when I put this back on, I just need to remember to come in from the bottom and wing it up. So. And remember, like, don't try to install the spring this way. You know, this is the correct way to do it. I'm not an engineer, but there are weird things with springs where, like, you know, they're just teeny pieces of wire. They can stress and break. Usually it's at the ends that springs like this will break because they're weak. They're bent and weak. Sounds like I'm being mean to the spring. You're weak.
And you're bent.
And you're bent. What kind of spring are you?
So on the spring, you want the loop flush against the drop target, not
Yeah.
sticking out the other way.
That's generally how they were put together. So that's the way I put them back together. I'm trying to get it in here. You know, it was fun. I played pinball when I was in Disney World.
Wait, I thought you said there wasn't pinball.
No, there was in the hotels.
Oh.
I got to play. They had a Star Wars at my hotel, and then they had a bunch of awesome, like they had like a neat mix in this arcade. Sorry, this is like not about springs or drop targets, but they had a bunch of really neat a mix between like old and new like amusement equipment. So they had like fancy gigantic Pac-Man, you know? But they also had like sit-down Star Wars trilogy with that like giant 50-inch TV, you know what I'm talking about? So I met and talked to the fella that works on the games there. Of course, you know, I got a big eye roll from my wife, and I sat there and talked to the dude for a couple minutes. But he worked for this guy in particular. He used to work at the Orlando location of Disney Springs, and Disney Springs was this neat thing. It was an arcade, like an all Disney arcade that they were opening in like the late 90s, and they were huge. They had like one in Chicago, one in Orlando, and then they were going to open one in Maine or something like that, but it got shut down like right at the turn of the millennium or so. And all that equipment made its way everywhere. It just so happens that my friend Josh at one of the arcades here in town has a Frogger that came from Disney Springs. It's kind of neat. They converted them to LCDs and made them all free play. Let's see, where's the opening? The opening is here, so I need to come in from the bottom, try to get the round bit around. It's okay, that coin door is so beat. Those are the little things that I wouldn't mind like buying for this game one day to make it just a teeny bit nicer. But nice, look at me struggle with springs. Isn't this the content you come here for every week? Okay. Hey, there's one. Yay. Yay. It's going so much faster. We have one that works. Now let's get the other two. I'll try to get these.
This arcade said I use a small hemostat to clamp on the spring and then maneuver onto the clip.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I don't have a
What's a hemostat?
a hemostat, so it's they're those like little teeny pliers that lock, like, you know, like it's like a kind of a not a medical tool, but it is. Yeah.
That's so smart.
I mean, I guess
Nice
it's.
and secure.
I mean, hemo is the prefix for blood, right? Like hemoglobin, hemophiliac. So I guess they use them to clamp down on arteries or veins or something. Yeah, hemostats are great tools, though. Definitely. I do have some hemostats in my my toolbox. They're just much larger than this application calls for. All right, bitchin'. We have drop targets now that will fall down when I hit them correctly. I guess I didn't clean the hole well enough because that one's already starting to get a little greasy, so let me just wipe that off. But
Ooh.
yes, the roach clip tool, exactly.
Yeah, the snaky clip could do it for sure.
No, they need to
Or
lock.
too thick.
Yeah, the snake clip's too thick,
yeah,
and they
it would
need.
move.
Yeah, it would move. You got to ensure that they're really in there. Okay, I'm going to reassemble the bank really quick. So we have to put the backing plate here, and then I might need to look at the stop. It seems like the entire thing can over travel just a teeny bit. I don't know if that's something that the coil can overcome, but not my finger. But let me show you what I mean once I get this bolted back together. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Keep you from sticking the wire into your
I'm going to get a. I'm definitely going to get some small hemostats for my toolbox. I need to. Okay, get this guy back together. So what I meant by stop is like, you see right now where this is like at its maximum depression, you see how this is like kinked a little bit? And I think this is just physics. Like if I push it here, it won't work. If I pull up from the roll pin though, it does move, so it's actually okay. I just need to revisit and look. What I meant was, if I try to push this up to reset it, it won't move, right? Because it's exerting force this direction. But actually, this is kind of a tip you can think about conceptually for a lot of things. When you're looking at a pinball game and you're trying to figure out why something won't move or do what you want it to do, and you're confused or something, like think about how it's supposed to work, what you're doing, directionality, right? Why won't this reset? This must be wrong. When I push on this bracket, it is putting force on this pin. You see the angle that this is at. When I put force on this at this angle, it's not going to move. This is fixed, and it's stuck this way. It has no slop. But how does the device work? Well, the coil energizes, and it pulls up on the plunger, which will bring this into line. So what I was thinking I might need to do is like, well, maybe I need to look at the stop, right? This can help me adjust where and when, how far this thing will go down. But it was absolutely unnecessary. So, does that make sense?
Yeah, but is there maybe cases where you would have to adjust it because it's not?
Yeah, there are cases like if it was resting too far down.
And then where would
So you could adjust this and move this screw in and out, and that allows this to rest. It will stop, right? If these were traveling too far down and they were, disappearing beneath the playfield or something like that, you can move this back and forth, and that will say when this thing can stop. Because as you can see, right, when the drop targets go down, they go down as far as this will let them, until they might bury themselves on their neck or something. But that's drop targets. You know what? Let's also, while we're here, and this thing is out, let's clean up these inserts here under the drop targets. That's one thing I definitely like to do, and I think we showed the difference last week of how nasty these things can get, and when you clean them, how much brighter your inserts will be, even just using the old incandescent lamps.
Yay! Abe Flips was raiding with a party of 20. We missed Abe Flips
Whoa.
live stream.
Thank you for the raid. Hello, everybody.
Should have been there.
I know. Geez, let's cancel PinTech. Can you start streaming again?
I know.
Welcome, raiders.
We thought our footage was beautiful today.
We are Marco Pinball.
Got the most beautiful pinball footage there is.
Emoto is using her amazing camera, so we have mega camera quality today. But we are Marco Pinball. We work on pinball games. I'm trying to extend some tips to folks that want to get in and fiddle with their games. And you guys just missed absolutely nothing because we were trying to get springs on the drop targets for 10 minutes, so you didn't miss nothing. Hello, I'm Kyle.
Kyle, if you get the ones with the curved tips, they work better than the straight hemostats.
Hemostat, yeah. Yeah, that's great. I'm going to do that. I lost them in a customer's game, I think, but I used to have a small set of vice grips that had a slightly bent tip. So I think I can buy a 6-inch vice grip, a mini one, and I'm just going to heat it up and put it in a vise and try to bend them.
Look, we have them.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Maybe I'll try bending some. I'll send them to a lucky subscriber. What I'm doing here is I'm taking an acid brush that I keep clean, and I'm just using it to wipe out all the dirt and schmuck on these inserts. They get a whole lot brighter when you rub a lot of that dust and dirt off of the plastic insert. I didn't do this just through what we can do a lot of the time is just remove the bulb from the PCB, and you stick the little acid brush in there and wipe away. But these are big, and it only takes a second, and we remove the drop target, so let's just do it right, do it once. I just dropped a screw because I'm a professional. Now you get to watch some riveting content of me finding a screw, which I just found. While I have this out too, I'm going to unplug it and just take a look at the solder. Here, Moto, this is a great way for you to use this.
Oh yeah, come on in.
No, the drill bit still haunts me. So you see with those header pins, those 3 pins sticking up, that's where the light plugs into, supplies power and ground. If you'll notice, it's kind of weird. This is the back of the board, right? This faces the play field. Do you see how the header's base is behind? Right? A lot of the time the plastic bit will be down here. You'll plug the plug in, and they kind of touch each other. These are bizarre. So this gets inserted through the back, and all the solder goes on one side. So what happens is these crack. So you could probably zoom in on that, or not zoom in, but get like a really nice focus on it.
Going back, right there.
You could check for cracked solder. That is the biggest. I'll get a new drill bit at Expo. Thank you. I need it. This is a big culprit of non-working lamp boards. And yes, last week I think we ended the show with me putting it in lamp test and just kind of bumming around trying to figure out where we had bad lamps or things not working. From my naked eye, this looks okay. So we'll just put it back in. And since I'm sure a lot of you will shame me, I will wipe off a lot of that coil dirt. When it's out, let's just do it. So the reason these are constructed like this, I kind of mentioned it, but it's a lot of boards will have a component side and a solder side. And they just kind of happen to make the connector on the solder side on these boards because it's easier for manufacturing and assembly. There's a ton of holes in this area that make no sense. Did it go like this? Uh-oh. Yeah, it went like this. I think. We'll find out. If one lock is not the right lock light. These lamps are also kaput. I should replace them. But we'll do that when we have the game on and we're in lamp test mode. Those blackened bulbs we were talking about last week, that's they make bulbs seem a lot dimmer than they should be, and they will not last very long. A lot of the stuff I do when I talk about blackened bulbs and blah, 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 a lot of that comes from the on-location use, right? There's nothing worse than having to go to a location to fix a game where it's just like something teeny or something that you could have caught or avoided. I think I got this on backwards. I think someone else has also put this on backwards. Yeah, it doesn't look right. And because, so here's a pro tip.
Take pictures.
No, this has memory. And when I'm trying to plug this thing in, I've got facing towards the flippers, a pin, a key, and then a pin. And when I try to plug it in here, I've got a pin, a key, and a pin, and a pin. They don't match up. This thing has memory, which tells me like I shouldn't twist it to put it in this way. I don't think that's right. But now I kind of want to turn the game on to find out. I'm thinking I'm right, but it kind of feels wrong. Does anyone want to rewind? No, I'm just kidding. It's oh yeah, good point. It takes 5 seconds to reverse if it is wrong. But I'm going to go with my gut and the muscle memory or the wire memory that we're going off here. Let's reverse it because it feels incorrect. And it's funny because like, there's just a cluster of holes here, so someone else has made a similar mistake at some point. No, I think I'm right. Now they don't line up at all. I think someone did try to mount it this way, but that just doesn't seem right.
So then what about the memory?
Maybe it's just me tripping out, and it does need to be twisted. This is, and this is also something that I'm uncaffeinated today, but also a lot of the time you're not going to take this and then walk around and talk with it. You're going to remember what and how things looked. Well, most people probably would. I have a bad memory to begin with, and now that I'm talking, it makes it even worse. So we'll see. We can go into lamp test and do single lamps. That's one really good use of that test. Most of the time you just want to make sure all the lamps work. So you'll put the game into all lamp mode, and it will light all the lamps. But if you need to figure out if you have your light lock PCB upside down, you can have the game pull up light or lock. And if it's lighting the wrong thing, well, you know you goofed up.
CNK says that's not how you just took it off.
I almost don't believe him because I don't think the holes line up the right way to do it the other way. So as soon as we get this back on, we're going to turn the game on and put it in light test and figure it out. The other thing I wanted to do today is let's just take a look at some of those targets. I'll replace one or two. And then maybe we'll just go start replacing lamps again. A lot of the work that needs to be done on this game is definitely going to need to be done off camera. I want to do a flipper rebuild. At least do the lower flippers. I don't think we've done a lower flipper rebuild of a game of this vintage. I also think I'm going to install some hot coils in this game, or semi-hot coils. Friend of the show, APB Enterprises, makes a coil that is just a little stronger than these, and it will help the game. It makes it feel a little more exciting, getting up the ramps a little quicker, a little more energy to the game. 99% of the time, I would never recommend someone change flipper coils and stuff like that willy-nilly. A lot of people will do that on EMs, electromechanical games. They'll take, instead of trying to fix things, they'll just put stronger coils in the game, and the coils are, when you put a stronger coil in things, the ball starts moving a lot quicker than it's intended, and you break stuff. In EMs, you'll break drop targets, you'll break stand-up targets all the time. So generally, rebuilding the flippers, cleaning all the contacts if they're a physical system will solve all your problems. But anyways, let's turn the game on. And we'll see if light lock is correct. Turn it on from the wrong side.
Baywatch will be.
Help is on the way.
Help is on the way, Moto.
Thank goodness.
We'll go to the diagnostic menu. We'll go to our lamp tests, and we're going to go to single lamps. We will now hit start until we find light and lock. Light. Okay. That's not lighting at all. What about lock? C and K is right. I definitely put it on backwards. Light wasn't working, but lock is, and lock is lighting light. So
GG. It just looks
I owe you.
wrong.
it did. It just looked totally wrong, and the holes didn't line up, and I guess I just didn't spend enough time trying to figure out how it goes. So there is a very practical use on how to use single lamp test. It'll pull up one light, and you can see if you put things in backwards like a dummy. Oops. I'm just making myself out to be a dummy today. That's fine. Everyone makes mistakes,
Yeah, it's good. Now we know.
especially me. Yep. So the best way to, I'm just gonna take I'll just take the drop target bank off again. It'll make it a lot easier to work cleaner. I could probably take it off without doing it, but let's just do it. So C and K, you win. I goofed. I wish we were doing something that required like more wonderful, fanciful camera work today. I feel like struggling with springs is a waste of this beautiful camera's abilities on the one day we get a cool camera. Game's off?
Yeah,
Yep.
that looks so weird.
What? It does, but the whole thing looks weird. The whole thing looks weird. It like
It was flush before, I thought.
I thought so too. It just the whole thing just I don't know. Let's see what we can get. Okay, so we've got a cadre of holes down here.
Try aligning bulb in center of instance and see where the holes align.
Well, that's the thing is like the only pattern of bolts, or not bolts, the only pattern of holes that work is this, and this is correct, but it looks so wrong. This, let me screw it in.
Because when you put the drop target thing.
No, it's just like, look at where the lock, this is light and lock. Look at where this one sits. It's like just in the corner, you know? Like, this doesn't look right to me for some reason. The other way, at least they were centered more in the insert, but that's how it goes.
That felt better.
It's going to be better now that light and lock will come up at the right times. And you know what? Both of these bulbs suck. So one of them was burnt out. The other one doesn't work. So.
But C&K, you know, you can be trolly sometimes.
The biggest of all the trolls. Okay, now I need to find some 555 bulbs. I didn't bring my parts box with me today.
Yes, the art does come in like that. It's a good insert. It's always just
Oh, the insert that it goes into? Isn't it huge? It's really interesting. You know what? I'm going to grab a small handful of these 555s that aren't blackened. Oh, here's a brand new box of them. Perfect. Are these 555s? Nope, they're 47s. 40. Oh, wait, but it has 555s in the box. Okay, whatever. We've got bulbs now. Bulb Town.
Oh, you have flash or something?
There might be some. But I always save all my incandescents when we put LEDs in a game or something like that. As long as they aren't blackened or bad, I'll save them, throw them all in a box. And it really, really comes in handy. It comes in handy, especially like, I mean, I don't sell games, but if you're like a game flipper kind of person, you want to just kind of like make it as good as possible, but you don't want to spend like 4 cents on new light bulbs, you can absolutely save a little bit of money by just reusing them. And also reduce, reuse, recycle, right? Lower your carbon footprint. It's good for the planet. Okay. Isn't it funny, like these inserts are ginormous and they get one light, and then this insert is just absolutely teeny and it gets its own flasher. How's the internet doing today? Oh, they're just talking about the inserts. I don't know, actually, let's look at the insert. You're right. I think you're right, actually. Let's look. So it's, the lamp is focused really, really, really hard on the right side of the playfield. When we put this thing down, oh, no, not really. You can see the whole insert. I mean, yes, there is art that covers like a significant amount of the insert, but not like a ton. Let's get a view. Let's look at these inserts now that we've dealt with them so much. So the insert, you can see the outline of it here. So you've got art covering a decent amount of it, but you can still see so much there. Oh, want to make sure it's working? Yeah, I guess since we had lights that weren't working either. The money shot.
Baywatch will be.
Do, do, do.
Help is on the way.
Help is on the way.
That guy's helping from a helicopter.
All lifeguards are trained to rescue people from helicopters.
Oh, really?
No. I don't think so. Maybe like fancy Baywatch lifeguards. Okay, light still doesn't work. Lock doesn't work either. Okay, so we have a bad bulb. Oh, let's get under there. This is what we need to do. This is half of fixing a game, right? Is making sure all the lights work. So that pile of bulbs I picked up, I could have picked up some bad ones. So the other thing, when you're saving bulbs, you always do run the risk of now getting mucked up ones. Okay, I'm also going to go backwards and just put it in all lamp tests to solve this problem.
You did all you could.
Oops. I'm supposed to push previous, not quit.
Help is on the way.
Diagnostics, lamp, all lamps. Wait, no. The start button's sticky. There we go. There you go, all the lamps. We got nothing here, so. Wiggle definitely doesn't seem like cracked solder, so maybe I accidentally put a bad bulb into the socket. We can look at the bulb, see if it has a filament. It sure looks like it has a filament. Bend up those, bend up the contacts, yank out a known working bulb, put in our socket. It works in this socket, okay? So our bulb that we removed now works. Let's reinstall it. Let's see if it works. Oh, this one's a pain in the butt. It doesn't, oh, there it goes. So maybe we just had some lazy sockets here. God. I'm gonna make sure I'm not pinching wires. Ow. Okay, sometimes tools make things easier. I'm gonna grab some needle nose pliers and they'll help me kind of rotate this lamp socket out. Who designed this? This is annoying. It's not as annoying as the one. It's not as oh, I have something to say. I have something to say to Joe Balser next time I see him.
Maybe you'll see him next week.
The whatchamacallits, an 8-ball deluxe.
Threaded inserts used in plywood.
I don't know. That'd be cool, huh? Can you imagine to change out like a circular insert? You just kind of screw it into the playfield.
Yeah. Instead of hammering it in.
Okay, this is going to be a word I shouldn't say. Oops. Dang it. There's a lamp on 8-ball deluxe that is underneath the 10-bank drop target bank. So to change out like this one lamp, you have to remove the entire drop target bank. It's such a pain in the butt. Okay, now we're going to make sure this lamp still works by plugging it in after I dropped it. Still works. I swear I'm not taking this drop target bank out again, even though it might be the right thing to do. Oh, I almost got it. I don't got it. Help is on the way. I need help. Okay, sorry, Al. Remember, though, I say this all the time. Sometimes the perceived faster way is absolutely the slower way. And if you would have just done the longer way from the get-go, you would have saved some time. There are a lot of shortcuts you can take in pinball, but sometimes it's better to do it the long way. Ow, okay. Nice. Now we have 2 lights that work. Fantastic. Instead of like chasing down all of our non-working lamps, let's yank one of these targets out. Hey, the camera's frozen.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I bet it turned on.
Oh.
No?
The best serviceman you call out ever. I know, it really is, huh? Oh no, that camera's good. This camera's dead. Or
It's the Sony.
oh, it is the Sony? Uh-oh.
It looks like your arm is still there.
I would be constantly freaked out about stripping holes on the underside. Yeah, well, that is a truth. And actually, it's funny. Someone shoved these in there, but that's why I keep, which camera is it? This one.
Oh, no wonder.
Did it run out of batteries?
I mean, I have more batteries.
Oh. I keep these 8-inch, always in my toolbox, I keep a stripped out.
No.
Oh, I see what he means now. Threaded inserts used in the plywood. Okay, so there are threaded inserts from the top side, but not from the bottom side. From the top side, when they need to screw something in that needs extra strength, there will be a what's called a T-nut. A T-nut is it is a nut. It has a wide base and a barrel that's hollow that goes up through the center. And that hollow center is threaded. So you can pound the T-nut into the bottom of the playfield and then thread what you need into it from the top. From the bottom, wood screws work. But if you were to strip something out, having a 1/8-inch dowel like this and some wood glue is great. You find your big your now enlarged hole. Put a little bit of wood glue on the end of the dowel, stick it in, grab your flush cutters, cut it flush, and then screw away right immediately. You don't need to wait for it to dry. The screw will force the glue and the new material outward and make a nice tight fit. I've done that a bunch of times on the show. Thankfully, I haven't needed to do it today, but it is something you will need to do one day. I just got called by Mike Vinacore. I need to call him back eventually. So can you show the T-Nut here, Emoto?
Shouldn't you be watching PinTech Live?
You should text him. Tell him to watch PinTech
I know,
Live.
I'll be like, stop following
He's
me.
working. He's developing James Bond or something for its debut at Expo next week. So this is a T-nut. This is what you'd call a threaded insert here. So it's, like I said, it's got a wide base. That center bit is hollow and it's threaded there. So you can thread things in from the top that need a nice solid connection. The T-nut also has little cleats that go up and bite into the wood. So when you're turning your screw, whatever you're threading in through the playfield, it doesn't twist with it. I think the reason why T-nuts aren't used all over the place, from the top you can't use them a lot because they're ugly. You would see them all over the playfield. But they also have quite a big footprint. They make assembly more complex, and they're also expensive. So if it doesn't need that extra strength, generally a wood screw will suffice. What were we going to do? We were going to replace a yellow target. Let's do that. Let's find a yellow target to replace. Let's do this one because it's nice and easy to get to.
You have to get it from underneath here? Hold on, can I repo it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually good because I need a sip of, I need to wet my whistle here real quick. I've been doing a lot of talking. Thanks for being with us today. Hopefully this isn't too boring. I don't know. This guy, right here.
Okay.
We've got six yellow stand-up targets that we want to change. I'm going to leave all the gray ones. The reason I'm replacing all 6 of them, I'll show you in just, well, no, I'll show you after. There's 2 yellow targets that flank the ramps, and if you don't hit the shot to the ramp really clean, it will kind of turn those oblong targets into, they'll have like concaves on the edges, the long sides of them. So I want to replace those because they're kind of ugly. But then when I replace the 20-something-year-old yellow target with a brand new super white yellow one, it just looks off. So then you need to just replace all of them or else you're being a dork. Huh?
Can you all hear me? Hello. Hello. Hello.
Your levels are going.
No, not really.
Really? Emoto, sing us a song. Mary had a little... Yeah, they're plugged in. Should be good.
Sure.
That's the one I was using the other day, too.
Hey.
We take out our 2 screws that hold it to the playfield, and we are presented with the stand-up switch. This actually is one of the switches that will flank a ramp. This one's not too bad, but what you'll find is that these will become concave here. It'll eat in a little bit, and I want to replace it because it's ugly. And then when you replace that, let me get a new one, and you can see the difference in color. It's those little details that just make something look so much better. And I don't ever work on my pinball games, so if I'm going to go through the effort of working on a game now, you know, might as well do everything I can at once because I'll never do this later.
Oh, yeah.
It's not, you know, to be honest, I kind of like this mustardy yellow more than I like this new yellow, but I don't want 3 yellowy yellow and, you know, 4 or 3 mustardy yellow ones. They just don't look right. So I'll replace them all. I'll save these. This is a good target still. In some instances, this might be absolutely what I need in my toolbox somewhere. So don't throw anything away unless it's broken. And then let's examine the rest of the structure. So this is our base. This is what we would call a front mount target. In Williams-E's, it's more important to differentiate front and rear mount targets because in Data East land, you can kind of move these things around. You can't make this into a rear mount target because of the backing plate. It's a little different, but a front mount target means that the bracket that holds it in place mounts in front of the target. This is our backing plate. These are much better than the Williams backing plates. Williams used just a straight piece. And with enough space behind a target, pinball comes in real hot. It slams against this target, it puts pressure up against the backing plate. And the backing plates on Williams games tend to bend really far back. Having this little 90-degree kink there, that dog bone, makes this extremely rigid. So these don't bend, which is nice. We sell a kit you can kind of retrofit some Williams targets to have something like this that won't bend as easy. But yeah, so to get this to change, right, we'll take it apart. We're going to unsolder it. You can do this part at the bench. We just need to unsolder. Come over here, remove the old foam, install new foam, install the target into the bracket, come back over here, solder the wires on. You could take pictures or reference your manual, but you should always remember, let's look at a switch anatomy a little bit here too. On the switch itself, we only have two blades, right? We have the blade that holds the target face and the rear blade. Okay, we've also got tensioning blades and backing blades to make them stiff, but we only have two blades that actually go to the end of the switch, right? One here, one here. And we've got our diode. These only go in one direction. You don't need to remember this. Yeah, this is the diode here. But we see that the diode is attached to a dummy lug, right? The blade where this finger is doesn't come all the way up through the switch. So that's where the diode hooks. You'll call that a dummy lug. But if we look at the switch, that's where our switch row attaches. Williams did it the same way. They used the same color schema as well. So the green wires are your switch columns. That's what's constantly pulsing, searching for a closed switch. And the white wires are going to be your rows. The row always attaches to the non-banded side of the diode. That's our dummy lug. So we've got our dummy lug back here. If we look at the diode, the band, this is the dummy lug. The band is on the other side. White wire attaches here. Nothing attaches here. The green wire attaches here. It's in every manual. Study it. Take a look-see. But you don't need to go and take a picture of every single switch if you're going to unsolder them, because they all follow kind of the same simple white to the non-banded side, green on the empty real blade. It's a little complicated. Maybe we'll go into switch matrix theory one day or find a good video to explain it I can link you to. But that's why I'm not going to take a picture of this, and I'm confident that I can hook it up correctly when I put it back together. So really quick here, I'm going to unsolder it. Data East games, a lot of the time, this is another nice thing. I think Williams did this at some point as well. There's a little condom over the switch column here. So you can pull that up and out to expose the joint. This just allows it to keep the bit that has voltage to it. I think the switch matrix runs on 12 volts. So this just makes sure that the 12 volts can never short to anything that it shouldn't be. And if you can see, I mean, this game has a ton of stuff really close packed in. So would you mind moving the camera back just a teeny bit? I got to get in here with the iron. OK, don't. Let's do it. I can do contortion. Be careful.
I was kidding, but I actually didn't have to move.
Be careful when you do this. When they start to let go, sometimes they'll flick.
The most beautiful soldering video ever.
Whoop, like that. Ow.
Yeah.
I hope that didn't get on your lens. It didn't. OK.
That's why I did.
Hey, look at there's Sonic on this board, too.
Switch gym hat?
Switch gym hat? Maybe I'm losing. Maybe the gym hat reference is lost on me, because I feel like there's a joke there that I don't understand. I'm sorry, Clark. Or is it because I called it a condom and now people are going to start making jokes?
Oh, yeah. It's totally a gym hat.
Look at this nerd.
I know, I need to put that background back.
Oh. No, I mean, that's fine. I'm just talking about how much of a nerd I look like. Look at Jungle Lord.
Looking at the background being like, okay, switching you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you want to wait for a camera? Yes, I will be changing the target foam. A downbeat exit. Where can you buy the Rolly leaf switches? Well, we sell most of the leaf switches. We sell a lot of leaf switch parts too. Kyle shot. One thing to also remember, and we'll go over this once we get everything back in, or when we do like our, okay, is this game ready to play test? When you do switch out your stand-up targets, and definitely when you put new foam pieces on, you need to make sure that everything, you're not getting switches stuck shut. Sometimes when you stack these things in with like a new foam or something, or you will need to adjust these so they have a nice opening so you get some nice action. Sometimes maybe you'll get a piece of foam that'll hold this switch out so far that it's really hard to shut. That could definitely happen. That came off extremely easy, like a sponge. And then the adhesive paper came off just as easy. Oh, what a dream. The foam that Williams used, which is this shape, such a pain in the butt to get off of the switch targets sometimes, or the switch backs. So we'll get this foam. It's on an adhesive backing. Get it on there, press it up against the backing plate. You can be pretty with it. These are die cut, so sometimes they'll have little stragglers hanging off the sides of the foam, but get it nice and centered. You know, take a little pride in your work. Come on. Kyle. Let's look at the dimensions of this switch too. Yeah, it's exactly the same. So something I notice when I try to put this together, take a look-see where the foam is. Now again, we're using a Williams foam, and this is a Data East target. But do y'all see kind of what I see here? I'm lining this up about as perfect as I can. Can you focus in at the bottom of the foam, Emoto? Do you guys see what's going on? You see how the back switch, not the target carrier, not the one that has the plastic face, but the actual back side of the switch is pushing against the foam as well?
Like here?
Yep. That might not really be a problem, but if we look at the size of the Data East target foams, it was just a small square, not a long rectangle. Let's take our flush cutters and cut off a couple millimeters of the bottom, just to ensure that that won't ever cause anything weird.
Right, so it doesn't like rub up against it?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes just like the intense vibrations of the playfield, when we've got pop bumpers going on and flippers and multi-balls and all sorts of crazy stuff going, having a switch like that would be only closed that teeny amount, like, you know, a half of a millimeter or so, you can get phantom switch closures. So just like a savage, cut off a bit, don't measure, who cares? But now we've got plenty of clearance there, and we should have a switch that's gapped nicely and will work a little bit better. So let's, I'm gonna get this thing attached and put together, and we can show the finished product. This is a lot of work for very little gain. And again, let's talk about this too. Even though I work at a place that sells replacement parts, I personally don't like to replace things just for the sake of replacing things. This is for aesthetic reasons only, and that's fine. You know, there's no reason, and that's kind of replacing things just for the sake of replacing things, right? But there's no reason to there's no reason to just replace a switch unless you were going for that aesthetic bit, right? They don't wear out. They don't really break. You know what I mean? It's what I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, just try not to waste, you know? It's good to carry these. Like I said, also, I won't be throwing these away. These switches are perfectly fine. They're not bad. They're not busted. They're not broken. They will definitely find use in another game somewhere else, you know? These things are also, it also seems like it's stripped. Leaf switches are also getting a little difficult to find. they're not going away, but they're just kind of, the people that make leaf switches are few and far between. Did you already say? Back in the day of the ancients, you could purchase a leaf switch kit where the blades had several holes and you could press a contact into. You could make any length switch you needed. Do they still make those? Yes, they still do, and we sell them. Uh-oh. Emoto turned off the lights.
Look how cinematic it looks, though.
It does. It looks pretty cool.
For this, yeah. As long as you keep like these other.
For some reason, these are not threading in very nicely. It looks like they're a little stripped at the ends. Uh-oh. This is a interesting piece. This piece is definitely stamped. So this would be a flat piece of metal, and then it will be stamped to have that bend put into it, a big press. Who's here? Bartok in the house! Hey. He's a civilian on set. You'd have a tool that would come in and push this piece of metal to form this bend. Then this piece also has an interesting thing. It's called, this would be called a stamped and extruded hole. So do you see the bit where I'm trying to thread into back here? How it pops out? So they would drive part of that tool really hard into the back of this thing, and you'll end up with this like spalling out. Oh, nice. We're being presented with treats from across the room. So this is part of the stamping process. It would blow the back of this piece out, and then they would thread that hole. So it's not just like a very thin threaded backing plate. It has a little bit of oomph to it to make it a little stronger without needing to use a nut. I've been learning a lot about metal processing and fabrication, and that's the thing. Like, this looks so simple. This is a very complicated piece of pinball, right? Everything that you think is simple and easy is actually, they're pretty complicated. This takes an expensive tool to make. This isn't just something that people can go out and use a press brake to bend. This is something that takes a multiple $1,000 tool just to produce this one teeny part. Now, the engineers are smart, and they knew that they were going to make a bazillion of these things. So to spend $10,000 on a tool that will make this is fine, because they're going to use, bazillion of them through the process, or the life. 1 bazillion. That's a technical term. But I don't have my taps and dies, and I don't know what's stripped, but one of these just feels stripped, and I don't particularly want to force it. These are the same width, right? I checked all that. Huh. And when I mean stripped, what that means is you've got, I think this is a self-tapping screw too. One bit of the threaded portion of the bolt or the nut, the receiving end, is lost its threading. Oh yeah, that thing's going in hella crooked. That's stripped. Digerati though, yeah, we do have leaf switch kits. Or maybe not a kit per se, but we have pieces that you can make switches out of. An electromechanical game or device restoration, a lot of the time you do just have to make your own switches. You can't find off-the-shelf stuff all the time. Ooh. Okay, I think I fixed that one. I know that these are self-tapping screws because the ends of the screws are just a butt hair thinner than the rest of the screw, so you get a bit of a taper from the bottom as it moves all the way to the top. And what that does is that it will help cut a thread into something that is either untapped and made of a softer metal, or is just lightly tapped. So. Oh my gosh, it's 4:42.
Yeah, you better hurry up.
Well, it's okay. No one wants to ask me questions today anyway, so. They're all just like, man, that guy can't even put a spring on a drop target. What a fool.
You didn't have your forceps, your
My hemostats. That's right. This fly really, really, really wants to be in my face right now.
take a shower.
I know. I haven't showered in a few days. I bet. No, I'm just kidding. Who showers? Okay, let's see if I can get this in straight. I think I was driving the screw in at just a teeny bit of an angle. And it looks like it's happening again. Okay. This is weird. So what are you guys doing this weekend? Moto and I are going to Pinball Expo next week. I'm going to Savannah for the Graveface 20th Anniversary Music Festival. It's going to be great. Coworker Steve is also going. He will be meeting me down there at some point, and we will be listening to rad music and drinking rad beers and eating rad food. Having a rad time all around.
Kyle, you're living the dream.
Sure. All right, now we've got a switch put together. Y'all remember where the rows and columns go? Because I sure don't. Oh, hey, look, there's Ben Robb right there. Ben Graveface himself.
They've been talking about it all
Yeah.
past 2 weeks. Every day.
Ben takes care of the games there because I don't live there. So, Ben, what we need to do when we talk to Ryan is convince him to, he does need to make an apartment now that he owns that building, and I'll just move there, and I'll just work on the games all the time. We'll have a jolly old time fixing everything. You know what I'm going to do actually before I do this? I'm going to tin the switch. It's always a lot easier to solder. It's a pain in the butt to solder these things on because we're working perpendicular, right? Gravity is not in our favor. So we want to try to do everything we can to make this as easy as possible. So we do have the diode soldered on here. We know that we need to solder one side of the row to the non-banded side of the diode, right? So we're going to add a bit of solder, clean the tip, add a bit of solder here. Even though there already is some, let's add a little bit extra. It'll make it a little easier. There it goes, it flows in nicely. And now this side is untinned altogether. We want to make sure that that has a decent amount of solder on it so we can just gently tap the wire on when it's hot. And we're good to go. It's hot. Be careful. Okay. Get this sucker in. And this is one of those things, rinse, repeat 5 more times. That is why I will try to get some time to do it off camera. Maybe when I come back from Chicago next Thursday, I will definitely not be allowed to come over here and do this because they're going to want me over in the office. But I need to do a little bit of stuff off camera.
Yeah, that's when you come here after work.
After work. After work. I have no after work. All day's work. I'm scheduling my service calls 2 months out right now. Thankfully, I have a couple service calls in town. I don't have to drive some other godforsaken corner in the middle of nowhere. I can just go do it in the city. Get that on there. Slip the good old condom back over there. And then get on my hands and knees and see if I can get this guy in this side. Oof. I hate, would you mind moving the naphtha in that thing?
Like you're getting dangerous over here.
I hate how close this is to the ramp. It's like just right there. And these harness is super short. Thank you. One thing that Sega did soon after this is they started using these goofy keyboard switches, which are neat in theory, but they don't really work well. That's why they didn't use them forever. But they were cool because they just like plugged in. There's no need to solder and have weird bare ends of harnesses. I like it when things are unpluggable, but it's expensive and creates failure points, and we don't need those. All right. Rinse, repeat.
That it?
5 more times.
Well, I think that's a good stopping point.
Yeah, we learned some things today, I think. Maybe next week we'll do a flipper rebuild. And then basically I get to harass one of my coworkers to.
Well, next week you'll be at Expo.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that you'll be able to get online and give us a little walkthrough.
Yeah, well, okay, we'll try. Well, let's make sure we're together at that point. That'll be fun.
Well, I mean, I won't be there physically, so you'll just have
Oh,
to
yeah.
join me via Zoom, and then I'll control it all via Zoom. It'll be really easy.
How do I do
And then
that,
if
though?
you can't, and if you don't, what do you mean? You download Zoom on your phone.
Oh, and we can just do it on Zoom through OBS.
Yep, just like how I do big picture pinball.
That's super cool. Guess what? I have Zoom on my phone. So we can totally do that. And then maybe we'll see some friends of the show. Maybe we'll drink some beer
You
on
can
the
do some,
stream.
like, man on the street interviews with people that
Oh,
are
I'm trying to be so incognito. I'm hoping I don't get
playing.
recognized.
You're 6'7". Everyone's going to see you.
I'm going to wear a little mustache so no one can recognize me because I'm trying to just have fun.
Oh, I'll give you my Wario glasses.
Yes, please. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I kind of like the darker yellow a lot more than the bright yellow, but you know, it's gonna look fresh. Especially since we do have a couple of these yellow switches on the right ramp. They're just super gnarly, so that's bad. Hot soldering action, that's right. What cordless iron do you use, or do you? I do not. I do not have one, but I've seen a couple people using some battery-powered soldering irons, which are pretty cool. Sorry, I can't read.
I was like, where did he go?
Put a cot by the coffin. So why don't you just open up one of those coffins and I'll just sleep in it? Isn't there a coffin at the lodge that's big enough for me, Rob? Gallery Espresso and get the Turkish coffee. I've been there. That place is good. I'd like to get the Turkish coffee. There's a place in Savannah I really like to go called Foxy Loxy. They do some really, really good coffee, and they also do Tex-Mex, which is really good. Their Tex-Mex is nice, and they make kolaches. I like a good sausage kolache. I can't see the chat anymore, Moto. I had a butane iron catch in my hand. Yeah, I won't use butane irons anymore. They're dumb. It's just like with the exhaust, and you're sitting there working on a game, and the exhaust is melting all the insulation. That just sucks. And yeah, it's like that's a good idea to hold like a hand grenade in your hand while you're working on a pinball game. Pinball Magician, when do you not have power when working on pinball? Is that a joke? Because I think most of the time I have power when I'm working on pinball. I do remember actually when California was on fire one time, Chris made me come to work without power because he's like, you can still clean a pinball machine when there's no power, so we're just going to clean and take things apart. I'm like, okay, that's fine. What kind of beer are you drinking tonight? None. I am drinking whatever Steve brought me in this cooler over here. I actually have not had beer at home for like 4 months, and I've lost like 8 pounds because I've switched all that beer to wine and whiskey. And it's a lot less carbs, but you know.
Oh yeah, if you had a cordless iron, then you don't need power.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You can still work. Dang, that's clever. I'm going to buy a battery-powered soldering iron and try it out sometime. Yeah, I know. I'm a quitter. No beer. Now that my friend Shut is like working on opening his own brewery, like the space, he hasn't been brewing all that good German stuff, so I just haven't been drinking a lot of beer. That's all.
Roddy said haircuts don't count.
I haven't had a haircut in like 6 months. I need a haircut again though. Really? I thought it was in April. I think I got my hair cut around my birthday. I think. Because Eska was sick of looking at me. 8 pounds of hair. That'd be insane. I mean, Emoto probably has 8 pounds of hair. Sorry, I'm going over here now so I can sit. Oh, my back is killing me. All right. Is that it? Is no one?
I think that's it.
I think-
I'm gonna find someone to raid.
We did a good job today, sort of. We did some targeting. I'm going to clean the old rubber off of the flipper bats I can't replace. Got to do some decaling. I'm going to whine and complain to a coworker who's taking a long time to make my decal. for the ramps.
You haven't assigned a task for it?
Probably. I think there's multiple, actually. But remember, I told you the other day. Never mind. We'll talk about it later. Yep, Baywatch. We'll get to play it soon. Everyone loves Baywatch.
Daniel's on a diet too.
I'm just on a change of alcohol diet. I've also been mostly vegetarian for a couple weeks too, which is boring. Actually, I was not that way in Disneyland, Disney World though. Who else is streaming?
Dax Plays is doing Twister.
That's rules. I love Twister. You know what? We need to wait until 3 to see if Manu comes on.
It's Halloween. We're gonna have a good time tonight.
Boogeyman is coming.
Wait, people are saying things I can't see. Can you scoot that window over to the right a few oh, there you go. Hoppy teas? That's a little weird. I'd rather, like when I quit smoking, I didn't like go vape because I just wanted, you just either do it or you don't. I don't need hoppy tea. I love tea though. I still drink beer. I just don't drink it at home. So I just drink when I'm bored. I don't need a vape. Just no more cigarettes. Twister is the best color DMD game? That's interesting. I actually don't know if I've seen the Twister color DMD before. I like that game a lot. It's really cool. Ghostbusters has a good color DMD. Who's in the room today? Emoto, obviously, and then a friend of the show and local hero, Steve, who sometimes is in the chat, maybe, but he's just here. What's in your tool case next to you? A lot of tools. I think a long time ago, Emoto made me do a Let's Unpack Kyle's Toolbox. It hasn't really changed much. I've lost a couple tools. Like I've lost my small vice grip that was angled, and it makes me very sad. So I need to replicate that. But oh God. This is. It's ridiculous. Yeah, this is just my traveling technician toolbox, because most of the work I do is on the road, so you gotta hopefully be prepared for almost everything. And if you aren't, you figure it out. You leave tools and games as a hobby. Yeah, I'm really excited to go back to Savannah to get my primary voltmeter out of the Devil's Dare that it's been sitting in for 6 months. I miss that thing. Color DMD was one of the first upgrades I did on Twister. Nice. I'll have to go look at that one. I like Twister. It's a shame you don't see that so often.
See Digirati talking about Whirlwind?
No? Where? I will say that Marco rocks in getting parts in a nice, timely manner. No problem. Oh, nice. Ugh. Yeah, that was when my customer brought me that Elvira over there, and he was like, yeah, it doesn't have any battery corrosion. I was like, uh-huh, and he got it here, and it didn't. And I'm so happy. I don't know if it boots. I haven't ever plugged it in or anything, but the first thing I did was yank the batteries off the board, and they were just starting to corrode. System 11 boards and White Star boards with corrosion are my nemesis. I hate them. It's a lot of crap.
These flaps are like the coolest thing.
The money shot. I didn't know you could unbutton that. Yeah, watch the episode. It's pretty good. I mean, like, I guess it's screwdrivers, nut drivers, crap that's too big. So we've got. Can you see anything here? Lift it back. Let's see. I mean, the voltmeter, solder sucker, vice grips, large nut drivers that aren't commonly used on pinball but are still necessary sometimes, channel locks, my soldering iron, more needle nose, you can never have too many pliers, tape, solder, jeweler's loop, security socket set, a ratcheting palm wrench that I use for coin doors, box cutter, multiple screwdrivers, number 3 screwdriver, pry bar, hammer, punches. This is big stuff. Wrenches, all sorts of wrenches from 3/16 all the way up to 1/2 inch, 9/16, 5/8. My lucky needle nose pliers, which are right here. Go back in here. Nail clippers. You can never know when you need to cut your nails. Got some zip ties. Allen stuff. Switch cleaning and adjustments.
But you had the no, you did.
What are those? Oh!
And it's the curved ones.
Hey, look at that. I had the tool that I said I was going to go make. There you go. I had some curved hemostats all along. Check it out.
Why did we spend an hour on those switches?
I don't know what's in here. I don't go in here except for once a week. No, I'm just kidding. Bulb pliers, those are great. The bulb Yankee.
Bulb Yankee.
Maybe I'll bring some of those with me to Expo, and I'll keep a couple in my pocket. And if you come say hi, I'll give you a bulb Yankee. This is one of my favorite tools, infrared, LED detection surface, so you can test optos. I've got a couple of my Lucky Juju Alameda, California pinball stickers in there. I've got a PLCC chip puller for when you got to yank those ASICs out of WPC 89 computers, pens, you name it, it's in here. Brushes, pens. I got pokey things and cutty things back here, scissors. Here's 2 tools that I made. Actually, I'll show these kind of really quick. This is I made this with Dan Zielinski at Musée Mécanique. It's a coil sleeve forcer outer, so it's the exact diameter of a coil with just enough of a lip to catch the coil sleeve. So if you have a real stubborn coil sleeve in a coil, you can stick this in, use a hammer, and pound it all the way out. This is one of my favorite tools. It's because it's special, because one of my heroes made it with me. And then this thing. This is a, when I had to do like a stage 4 or stage 3 stern game delivery, this little thing is the exact size to catch the bushing that goes between the head. Here, actually, Emoto, come here. I'll show. This is one of my favorite tools. One of my favorite things is to make something that only has one use. I don't know why. When you take the head of a stern game off, the easiest way to do it is to take this nut out on the inside, and this bolt comes out with it. But one thing that's in between them is a washer that spaces the head away from the cabinet. If you don't have that in there, you'll scratch the crap out of the side of the game, or it'll pinch. So I made this tool out of PETG. So when I needed to take heads off to bring them upstairs, because Chris would make me deliver games by myself up 30 steps, grumpy, you could use this thing to place the washer back in just perfectly. It goes right in between here. Right in between the cabinet and this. This is the dumbest tool, but it's one of my proudest inventions.
Why don't we sell it?
Because it's mine. I don't know.
Don't you want to help others?
Yeah, so get get a Sharpie, measure 5/8 of an inch, cut, and then get a little bandsaw, jigsaw, cut it out. I could actually sell these. $1. Anyways, that's the tour of my toolbox. Where did this go? I don't remember which little thing it was in. I think it went on this one. This is another one of my favorite tools. Actually, people should look for these. I don't remember what these are called or where I got them. They're ancient, or they're well used. But they're like flush cutters that are in an angle. Look against my face. You see how they come out at like a 45? These are really great for tearing out staples. When you need them, they're incredibly useful. Or grabbing like the ends of ball guides, or yanking ball guides out of play fields. You put a little piece of paper or like cardboard down, grab on, and whee! The thing. I don't know where you can get these. I don't know what they'd even be called. You'd probably find them. I should try to find them for our store, but you can put them down nice and flat, grab onto something, and then leverage. So I use these a lot when I'm swapping play fields, doing like staple wire and stuff like that to lift up staples, or I'll use them when I'm doing like general illumination sockets for pop bumpers, yank the staple up a little bit, just enough so you can sneak the wire out, do all your work, and then push the staple back in the hole. Anyways, is Manu streaming yet? I like toolboxes too. Toolboxes are really fascinating to see what people have inside. My favorite technician at the motorcycle dealership had the messiest, most awful toolbox. It was disgusting. But he knew where everything was. And that's exactly what I tell everyone at work about my desk, but no one believes me. I have mechanics toolkits that I use for rally service crewing, similar style with pockets and layers. Yeah, I like a good toolbox that has good, I think they call those pallets. I love this toolbox. I think I need to buy another one just so if this one ever breaks, I can have a second. A coil sleeve putter outer. Yes, everyone needs one. How much will my autograph be next week? 1 beer, because I would never, ever give an autograph if someone asked me. But you can give me a beer and I'll give you a high five. It's like a toolkit for a Volkswagen, full of a bunch of special one-use tools. Yes, the Germans are brilliant and they design tools to do one thing. I guess I'm guilty by association. I have in my previous life, I worked on air-cooled BMW motorcycles. I have a whole box of tools that are only used on those motorcycles. All right, Manu's streaming. Sega sticker for the toolbox? No, the Sega stickers for the pinball game. We have to put that on there. Maybe I'll do that while you guys aren't watching. Anyways, thanks for joining. Thanks for being here, Emoto. It's way more fun to do this when you're here in person. She's on her phone.
I'm talking on my Vinegar, sorry.
Oh, what's he saying?
He's at Portland Retro Gaming Expo.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about that show.
I love that show. If you guys are in Portland, Oregon, go to the wonderful Portland Retro Gaming Expo. It's in the convention center right downtown. It's a really fun show.
All right, we're ready to rave. Hi, Permonson.
Hey, thank you for tuning in from beautiful, most likely cold Norway. Oh, okay, bye.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye, Internet. Manu's so happy right now.